So today I wanted to talk a little bit about a few things, small adjustments to your daily life and routine that you can make to change your life immediately. And I mean immediately. Some things that we do um, as far as developing good habits and such will only come to fruition after more medium or longer periods of time, whether that be 30 days, 90 days, 6 months to a year, whatever. I just wanted to go over a couple of things that you can start on immediately, as in the same day or the next day, and feel or see its results during or immediately after the action. Because I feel like sometimes we have to learn to be able to dip our toes in the water and get used to things that we're not used to doing when it comes to just developing better habits in general. You want to Sometimes it's harder to dive right into certain things that take a long time to see results from, because it's very easy to get discouraged and very easy to feel like you're not doing something right just because you're not seeing the results quick enough. So it's important to just make small changes that you can see results from very quickly, to keep yourself inspired, keep yourself motivated, and kind of, keep yourself feeling positive in general, so you can develop the discipline you need. So with that being said, I wrote a few things down just to kind of keep my thoughts organized, because these videos have been a little bit longer than I would like them to be. So the first thing I wrote was a full night's rest every single night. And I mean every single night. 7 days out of the week, you sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. Preferably 8.5, somewhere around that. If you can push for 9, push for 9. But, a lot of people live lifestyles where it might not allow them to be able to sleep that much. So about 8 hours on average every single night. And at the very least, if you've got things going on and you simply got to lose sleep, shoot for 7. Because sleep is one of the top 3 most important things for us as people. Exercise, sleep, and diet. Those 3 things will impact the way you feel physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of that. It affects the way you feel more than anything else. It can really set the tone for how your day is going to go. And in the last video, I've talked about how it's important to start strong when it comes to your days, because the beginning of your day can really dictate what the rest of your day is going to be looking like. Especially if you get the ball rolling, get good momentum, and you start your day out well, the rest of your day is going to follow suit. And your day doesn't begin with just waking up, but it really does begin with sleep, because those are the moments leading up to your day. So, your sleep is your body's preparation for the events that are going to take place. So you want to make sure you've got a good foundation off rip. Your sleep, your bed, all of that, that is your foundation for the entire structure of your day. And obviously you want to have a sound foundation, a sound structure, to make sure everything doesn't come crashing down. So the first thing you need to do is make sure your sleep is together. Because when it is, you feel a lot more energized. You feel more inspired to do more because you have the energy to do it. And it's going to increase your productivity. All the cylinders in your brain are actually going to be firing off like they're supposed to. Your mood is going to be generally better. It's simply better for you, because everybody knows if you don't sleep enough, it's eventually going to catch up with you, and then it could lead you down the road of other bad habits, or relying on things that are not going to be good for you solely due to a lack of sleep. I see a lot of people lean on energy drinks, on caffeine, bunch of things like that in order to stay awake and in order to try and stay productive throughout the day, when in reality it hurts them more than it helps, because it's just a temporary patch instead of a permanent fix. Because yeah, you may feel a little bit better in the moment, but the crash afterwards is going to hit 2 times harder. You're affecting your health. You may be developing an addiction to these things, or a dependence to these things. And you're wasting money. You could save a lot of money simply just by sleeping a little bit more. You could save time, you could save money, and you can expand your energy. And obviously, if you're trying to be a little more productive and change your life, that's one of the most important things. Next thing I wrote down was cleaning your room every day. I talked about this too a little bit in the last video I made. Your environment is one of the most important things when it comes to your headspace, because what you feel is what you see, and what you see is what you feel. So you need to make sure when you wake up in the morning, not only are you well rested, but when you first open your eyes, the first thing you're going to see is your surroundings, obviously, and your room. If you wake up to a dirty room, you wake up to a dirty mind. You wake up to a cluttered or messy room, you wake up to a messy mind, because there's so many things all over the place. You have a million thoughts running through your head. You're immediately greeted by a lack of organization. It's going to scramble your mind, and it's going to give you bad energy throughout the whole day, and it's going to lead you down a path that doesn't lead to productivity. You're not going to get anywhere if you wake up to a dirty room. Your space is so important. It really does dictate how you feel, because I mean, everybody knows if you've been in a dirty room, especially if you let it get dirty for like a week, it starts to build up over time. It gets worse and worse. At first, you got a couple items of clothes on the floor. It's whatever. You got to step over it. It's inconvenient. It is what it is. You'll get over it. A couple more days pass. Things start to pile up a little more. You've got to start moving things out the way in order to get to something that you may need. You might start losing things, therefore making you waste time trying to find certain things that you would have been able to find had you just cleaned your room before. So just, don't do it to yourself. Don't let it pile up. Don't let it get to that point where it really starts to affect your flow. And because if you're in the flow state, especially, it's going to kick you out, if you have disruptions like that. And the best way to stay productive is to keep a consistent flow and minimize your disruptions. And keeping a clean, organized room is one of the best ways to do that. So just clean it every day. It's easier when you clean it every day too. Because if you wait a week, then you've got an hour, 2 hours worth of cleaning to do in order to get it back to what it was before. But if you clean as you go, or you clean once a day, every single day, you've got about 5 to 10 minutes worth of cleaning that you have to do every day. And that way it keeps you a lot more productive. It keeps things out of the way, and it keeps you going. This one's a bit of a curveball. It's probably not something that people would expect me to say or think, or something that a lot of people wouldn't even necessarily agree with. But I think sometimes you've got to spend less time with your friends. And I only mean that in specific situations. Obviously, if these are the people that are keeping you together and the people that are pushing you, those are the type of people that you want to keep around. But sometimes we have to come to terms with the fact that our circle may not be the best for us, and it could be confining us to just that circle and preventing us from venturing out and spreading into something larger and something greater than what we are at the moment. So sometimes, instead of just, you don't have to cut people off completely. Sometimes you just gotta, be like, okay, what we got going on isn't working right now. I'm trying to do this and you're trying to do that. I'm trying to move forward and, sprint, but you still want to walk. You still want to jog. You still want to take a break. So that's cool. You do that, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wait for you to catch up. You can't get so wrapped up in trying to have somebody by your side all the time to the point where it keeps you from going as fast as you can run. Sometimes it really is as simple as being like, hey, I need to focus on me right now. I need to focus on myself, because you're my friend and all, you're my brother, you're my sister, whatever it may be. I always got your back no matter what. But right now, I need to put me first. I got to worry about me, and I got to do what I got to do. And it could be for a number of reasons. There simply could be a bad influence pushing you to do things that are not in character for you, or pushing you to do things that you may not usually do. Or they might not even be a bad influence. It could be as simple as them just simply not desiring as much as you do. Maybe they're doing fine in life. They've got good habits. They've got a good routine. They're doing what they need to do, but they're just complacent. They're cool with staying where they're at, but you're not. And sometimes those are not the people you want to surround yourself with. If they're cool with the way they are, but you are craving more, those are not the people you want to spend all your time around, because they're not going to be the people to push you to do more, and they're not going to be the people to do more with you. Like I said before, if you're in a race and you want to speed up, but they're cool with just jogging, let it be that. Do your own thing. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta back up, you know? You gotta take a couple steps back, reevaluate your situation, reevaluate your circle. And, you know, it could lead to possibly having to cut somebody off. But it could also mean just letting them mature on their own and letting them kind of figure it out on their own. Because sometimes it doesn't matter how many times you tell somebody to do something, they're not going to take your word for it until they learn the hard way. Or they're not going to take your word for it until they realize that there is more out there that they should be striving for, and that they might not be truly satisfied with where they're at, but they just needed to see somebody else close to them get to a higher level in order for them to realize that. And speaking of higher levels, the next thing I wrote down is a workout routine that you're going to fall in love with. Being active is extremely important if you want to be productive, you know? Like if you want to change your life, you gotta get some type of activity going on. And that could be really anything. You know, I don't think everybody needs to be a bodybuilder. I don't think everybody needs to be huge. Some people just want to run, and that's okay. Some people want to train combat sports, and that's okay. Some people just want to get strong, and that's okay. But I think we have to learn to refine our bodies and explore our limits and push our limits and see just how strong we can get. Because not only is exploring your mental potential crucial, but also your physical potential. Because those things go hand in hand. They're not completely different from each other. They're like this, you know? When you're in the gym and you're pushing heavy weight, or when you're running and you feel like you can't go anymore, majority of the time you got a lot more in you, but it's your mind telling you, hey, I can't do this anymore. Or hey, let's just stop here. I'm getting too tired. When in reality, you know you got 2 times more that you can put in the tank. But your mind is holding you back. And the more you keep doing that and the more you learn to persevere, the bigger your mind is going to expand. And that allows your body to have a little bit more leeway and push the new limits that were just established. And it's an infinite cycle. It's an infinite cycle. You just get better and better. Your willpower gets better. Your willingness to push yourself gets better. The learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable gets so much better. And obviously that's super important. You got to learn to step out your comfort zone if you want to see something different from what you've got going on. And if you want to be happy and truly satisfied with the way you are, you have to strive for more. You got to look in the mirror and see and like what you see. Because most people, they look at themselves every single day before they walk out the house. And that mood switch alone can really dictate how your day is going to go, because it'll affect your confidence, which affects your productivity and affects your ability to be able to step out and do something that you may not usually do. So you got to keep your body together. Not only so you feel good, but it'll improve your ability to get to sleep and rest a little bit better, which goes back to the first thing I said. And life just gets easier, you know? It just gets a little bit easier just doing certain day-to-day tasks when you're a little bit stronger. And you're going to get to a point where when you're so old, you know, you can't get any stronger. And from that point on, you're simply just going to regress. And it's extremely important to build that ability while you're in your youth and while you are in that building phase, to make sure that when you reach that regression stage, you've got a lot to eat off of. And you can keep going and keep pushing for way longer than most other people. Because you gotta stay ahead of the game. And you gotta try and do your best to delay the inevitable and preserve things that you know you will not have for a long time. You've got to learn to appreciate your body. Because having a fully able body, or having even a somewhat able body, and not exploring the limits to what you can achieve through what you've been granted with as far as your abilities, it's disrespectful. It's almost like a slap in the face to people who don't have that opportunity. You've got to learn to, you know, see what you're capable of. It makes you better just in general, and it makes it easier to learn to discipline yourself in other realms. Because I mean, if you can subject yourself to pain willingly, you can do almost anything else. The last thing I wrote was to offer help to strangers. We've got to learn to step out of our comfort zone and just get better with talking to more people and forming those connections in order to make it further in life. And one of the best ways to do that is to simply help people. You get what you put out, and it doesn't matter what you believe in some form. Everybody knows that you are going to receive what you give to other people. Whether that be a trade, whether that be a buy and sell, whether that be karma, or whether that be God blessing you. Whatever it is, everybody knows if you put out good and you help other people, at some point it's going to boomerang back to you and you're going to receive that same treatment. Because if you help people, they're going to want to help you. It's as simple as that. And offering help to strangers is one of the best ways you can do that, because you're putting that good karma out into the world. You're improving other people's lives who may need it. And it can really give you a sense of pleasure in it. Obviously most people are pretty selfish, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't get some personal enjoyment out of helping other people, because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good that somebody else feels good because of something that I did. And it just makes it easier to talk to people. When you're willing to offer somebody some help, you can strike up conversation. You can get a little bit more comfortable with just cold calling people, just walking straight up to them and talking about whatever you want, or just, treating them like family or treating them like they're a friend. You never know what could come out of it. It may be somebody you've been looking for a long time, whether that be a significant other or a friend or a companion or a mentor. You never know. It's very difficult to know what people's lives are like and to know what they're going through. So simple random acts of kindness can go a long way, They can make other people feel great about themselves. You could have stopped them from doing something catastrophic. And it could be something as simple as helping somebody pick up something they dropped. They may have had a horrible day before that, but you just doing that small gesture, taking 15 seconds out of your day while you're out and about, that may have just improved the next 24 hours of their life. And the reason why I think that changes your life is because you're changing other lives. And when you change other lives, people are going to pay that forward. When it comes to random acts of kindness and good deeds, they spread like wildfire. They spread like a good disease. When you do something good for one person, they're going to feel inclined to do it for the next person. And like I said, what goes around comes around, and that karma is going to find its way back to you. So when you do something good for people, they're going to do good for others, and it's going to keep spreading and spreading and spreading. And eventually one day, it may not be that day, it may not be the next day, but it's going to find its way back to you. So not only are you going to get the instant gratification, just from simply helping another individual, but later down the line, you're going to receive that back in some way, shape, or form. And that's what's just, super important. Just little things. Just making small micro adjustments that will really make your life a lot easier. I know a lot of the things I said seem surface level, but I promise you most of the people that are watching this are not currently practicing all of those things. And if you are, that's great. But if there's even one thing that I've said that you are not doing right now, do it. And I promise you, your life is going to get just a little bit better. And it may not seem significant, but when you do all these small adjustments over time, you're going to find that the small changes that happened turn into something much larger, much larger. I would argue that the small changes you make matter a lot more than the big changes that you make. Because there are only so many large things that you can do. There are only so many large milestones for you to reach. When it comes to people in and their biggest goals in life, they usually only have two or three. You know, oh, I want to look like this. I want to have this dream body. Or I want to have this amount of money. I want to drive this car. And then once you get those things, a lot of people, they almost feel empty. They feel like they didn't achieve much, or they still feel like they're missing something. Because even though they got the big thing they wanted, chances are they cut a lot of corners and skipped a lot of steps to get there. And some of the steps that you take may not be necessary, but they are extremely fulfilling. So when you shoot big, just remember that you may find that it'll be a lot more worthwhile and a lot more satisfying to shoot small before you shoot big. So you can really be able to tell yourself or tell other people where you came from.